This nibble originally aired on RSBANDB Update, episode 883, Extreme Shakes. Enjoy. I guess with that we begin with the new Protean items, which obviously Iron Man can't access, but with this week's Double XP Time to Train Treasure Hunter promo, there's 3 new Protean items, or Protean items. I'm just going to call them Protean items because I've called them that since the very beginning. Items for cooking, rune crafting, and herblore. For rune crafting, you have the Protean runes, the XP skills upon the altar that you visit, and the Protean Shake is for herblore, which can be used anywhere you mix a potion to earn herblore XP. And then, finally, the name that everybody loves the most, the Protean Proteans, which will give you cooking XP. So, how do you guys feel about these, Tanis? Any thoughts?
I don't feel any different than any of the other proteins we have.
Yeah. And I feel like these ones are kind of overdue to arrive. And David and I were actually running the numbers earlier in the week. And what's the case where you'd want to use the herblore one? Let's just start with that one, since that one seems the most absurd. Because there really isn't one unless
Is that a question for me?
Yeah, that is one for you, because
I don't know why you would ever use them. I guess if you don't have any startup money to buy potion ingredients, but and also it's just very AFK. Herblore's, because of how fast it's trained, it's not a click-intensive skill, but it's not an AFK skill because you have to be refreshing your inventory pretty frequently. So it definitely lets you AFK. The XP rates get very high, about as high as making overloads, but do not get as high as making things like vulnerability bombs.
Yeah.
So they're not the best XP in the game by any means.
No.
But they're pretty AFK.
And what we came up with, or what you came up with for this, was that, how much money did you say? Basically, just one shop run would be enough to get you started if you're trading herblore from level 1, rinse, repeat, and sell the potions, and you'd be able to get all the way to 92, or the overload level, with that on a double XP, if you just rinse and repeat and sell, based on the prices of trading herblore at this day and age, believe it or not.
Yeah. I think if you do a few shop runs, buy some initial potions, get yourself up to something like something like anti-fire potions.
Sure.
Anti-fire potions can be sold for a profit, weirdly, and that's something that changes, obviously, so you can't take that as a fact. You have to be checking the prices and making sure not to spam plus 5% when you buy ingredients, spam minus 5% when you sell. But if you sell patiently, you do that to the classic Ceradomin brews. You lose some amount of money, but for probably 20 to 25 mil, you can get 96 herblore these days. It's faster if you're willing to spend money and just do whatever the highest level potion possible is. But in a single double XP weekend with 25 to 30 mil, as long as you're patient, which you're able to be patient because of the way double XP live works. Within a double XP live, you should be able to get to 96 herblore. And shop runs are great. You can pretty easily make 7 to 8 mil in a shop run. So if you do that a couple times, you'll have enough money for overloads.
And I just want to point out again how weird this is when, you know, we look back to when I was training herblore before 2010, and even up until not too long ago, herblore was a pretty expensive skill to train.
Yeah. It still is expensive.
It's expensive, but at the higher levels, yeah. But that below post or pre-99 stuff isn't as bad as it used to be. Which is just absurd thinking about it from my perspective. But I mean, this is why it's always good to poke your head into the market and see where things are. And we'll talk about why some of that might be here to begin with. Tanis, any herblore training on the books for you?
No, I'm 120, so I'm good. But you know, I probably proteins are always something that, like, if you get them, like you collect them, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have anything else to do with them, so eventually, like, you use them on a double XP weekend.
Yeah.
And in that respect, it's fine. And when I think about, like, it's not the best XP in the game, that's true. But I can remember when overloads, I mean, even just a few years ago, were still very viable training method and very fast XP. I know I did my Herblore on a traditional double XP weekend, and think I'd gotten it done in over one of the days of it. So don't really think it's that drastic of a change.
Overloads are still a great choice, even though they're more expensive and a bit slower than something like vulnerability bombs, just because if you ever plan to PVM or even get like Tuner Mill Slayer, having a bunch of overloads made is super nice.
Yeah.
I've been 200 mil Herblore on my main for kind of a long time, at least 3 or 4 years by now, I think. But actually, that's not true. I've been 120 Herblore for a while. I got 200 mil Herblore with Adrenaline renewals.
Wow.
Right when they came out. At the time, they were called Power Bursts of Adrenaline.
Right.
Or Power Bursts of something like
something.
That. I don't know.
Some sort of Power Burst. Yeah.
Power Burst something, yeah. Anyways, that's how I got my 200 mil Herblore, because I already had a lifetime supply of overloads from getting 120s, so I wanted a lifetime supply of Adrenaline pots. But on my Iron Man, Herblore is really interesting to train from scratch, kind of using all new methods. It's definitely faster than it's ever been. It feels more accessible than it's ever been, and it's a lot less tedious to train now because you have so many options that are all valid for different reasons.
Yeah.
And
Herbie Werby.
Sure. Herbie Werby's great. But just the way that they've integrated ingredients from all over the game, I think, is super innovative and cool.
It's a good sync skill.
One of the potions I'm doing right now is the Power Burst of Opportunity, which you need that recipe for, and then it's Phasmatite Ore, Third Age Iron, Dinosaur Claws, and Primal Extract. It's such a weird collection.
But do you see yourself using those?
Not particularly.
It's complete loss.
Yeah,
pretty
not
much.
Really. But from an Iron Man perspective, they're amazing because they're extremely fast XP for resources that are incredibly easy to get. I don't think we need to get into why that's the case, other than just like the only thing I have to get is Phasmatite Ore, which I have a lot of Stone Spirits from PVM. So it's the other three just
right.
The other three things I just naturally accumulate based on stuff I'm doing anyways.
Yeah.
So on an Iron Man, Power Burst of Opportunity is a huge way to train. It used to be just Vuln Bombs, but Vuln Bombs require 3 soul runes each, and you can't exactly sacrifice that many soul runes these days.
And I think I know why. So with that, I mean, I feel like the protein shake exists, and you can use it if you want to use it, but the last 5 minutes or so have just been effectively a PSA to say that, hey, there's better ways to train Herblore out there, and it's not too terribly expensive if you have these protein shakes. And you might want to consider just saving them or converting them into something else that's a little bit more useful for you, I think. So, what about the protein runes and the proteins? You think anybody will use those?
The runes are kind of amazing if you hate training rune crafting.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah, they're much better XP. Well, okay, much better XP is a stretch, but they're noticeably better XP than rune crafting through the Abyss, or using rune crafting through the Soul Rune Altar. So if you do it at the Soul Rune Altar, It's about 100k XP an hour more than regular soul rune crafting is. The Abyss, same thing. It's like 100, 120k more than regular Abyss if you just go to a blood altar.
And I don't have any of these, so I'm wondering, does the Abyss bonuses with the demonic skull and such apply to that? I wonder if you go through the Abyss.
It's just the base. Okay. The base XP is just really high.
All right,
it's like 500k XP an hour base. Yeah, and it doesn't apply. You can't get like 2 mil an hour if you go through the Abyss.
Got it.
You just like teleport to the room, teleport to the blood altar with a wicked hood or whatever, and just chill.
Yeah. That sounds really good.
I mean, they're definitely the best of the three by a lot. They're AFK, very fast rune crafting XP. Really good choice to use these on double XP weekend, especially if you have power ups. I would certainly convert either of the other two into these, unless you're super into Abyss rune crafting, which maybe you are. That's
for the money and such, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like 20, 25 mil an hour.
For waters.
Yeah. Or bloods. Bloods are also extremely high profit. I think most people would probably do bloods.
Yeah. What about the proteins?
Terrible. Funny name, but why would you use these? I think it's as good or worse than sailfish are, and that's a cheap AFK skill, so it doesn't make much sense to use these.
Fair enough.
Yeah, this is one of those I was saying, you just kind of acquire them, and then you can use them for free at some point.
Yeah, you could use them for free if you're 200 mil and your other skills for some reason. I would still say it's probably worth it. Just convert them to the essence.
Yeah. And
that's what I would do.
And it's worth noting that these cannot be found from the protein packs. They can only be found on Treasure Hunter currently. You can find full episodes of RSBANDB Update right here on this YouTube channel. If you found this video useful or just enjoyed it, like and subscribe, or leave a comment.